Jumba La Mtwana in Mtwapa, Kenya is one of the places you must visit. To become woven into the history of the past, I visited the famous 600-year-old village, which has now been reduced into ruins. In the end, I was reminded that life is fleeting, life is a puzzle, and time does not wait. With no historical records available, we can't really tell much, but trust me, this is the best information you'll ever get about this place. Gazetted as a Kenyan national monument on 4th June 1982, under Kenyan Gazette Notice number 1515, Jumba La Mtwana attained the status of a historical site. But what do we expect to find here? What was once a Swahili town in fine woodland settings has now turned into ancient ruins, with a room turned into a museum, 3 majestic mosques, a tomb, a social hall, a courthouse, and some legendary houses, including the House of the Cylinder, the House of the Kitchen, the House of Many Doors. There are about 8 houses and 3 mosques here. But before we expose it all by word of mouth, let's tune our eyes and explore this town together. As per James Kirkman, a pioneer of the Swahili archaeology, Jumba La Mtwana is believed to have been built about 1350 AD and abandoned a century later. This was not a normal town, but one referred to as a large house of the slaves. In English, that is what Jumba La Mtwana means, a large house of the slaves.
This one was written in Arabic.
This one was a private house. Dari. Lakini hawa bado
Once you are in, you make payment to access the monument through eCitizen and begin our journey from the museum where secrets of the past lie. Welcome to the Chamber of Secrets. In the museum, we quickly realize that we are about to drink from the fountain of history and learn about the ways of our ancestors. We are about to unlock secrets of the forgotten centuries, from how the old towns started and how they were designed, to how they developed over the years and the materials used in building the towns. This is a depiction of an early Swahili town. Inhabitants here lived in temporary structures. The houses were made of wood and palm-thatched roofing. A well was at the center of the settlement. The houses were fenced in a timber enclosure. In the 10th century, the Swahili started developing rectangular semi-permanent structures from coral rug and mortar. Most houses still retain the thatched roofs. Community halls started being built during this time, and stone walls replaced the fenced timber enclosure. With the advancements of technology during the 13th and 17th century, houses began being built using stone, leading to the building of permanent modern towns, like the Old Town in Mombasa. This was during the 13th century. Pictures of the first government post office, now Lamu Museum, pictures of Mamboi towns, pictures of Lamu Islands are all preserved in the museum. Beautiful carved doors symbolize the wealth of honors. The roofs of many mosques and tombs during this period were domed, including the Twaka Mosque in the Takwa ruins and the preserved Congo Mosque in the south coast of Kenya. The museum has a lot of information of old architecture where houses were built without using any metal. The inhabitants of this town are mainly the Swahili, who are an urbanized African Bantu-speaking people, unified by the Islamic religion. We played a game meant to identify who the Swahili people are, and it was here where we found out that the buibui was also introduced to the Swahili in 1920.
They all sound
Before that, this is how the Swahili women used to dress. In the museum, there are also some jewelry, religious items, porcelain, cultural artifacts, boat-making tools, preserved corals, archaeological facts, and other materials excavated from the ruins.
an axe and an axe.
They are called wooden needles.
Wooden kichwa.
Not si kichwa, the upper jaw.
Oh, hii ni jaw.
The upper jaw. Hizi ni holes.
Outside the museum lies a reconstructed skeleton sperm whale washed ashore in 2013.
Hizi ni the spinal cord, the connection of spinal cord. Easy.
Spinal cord.
Then this is the ribs.
Ribs.
Yeah. Then about the descriptions of the whale. Just here, 15 tons for female males, 50 tons.
It's time to walk through these centuries and step into the past.
The cactus.
Now we are beginning with the site.
After more than 100 years of occupation,
I will give a brief story as
the previous inhabitants left this town in 1450.
excavations and the clearance were done.
It's not clear why, but it is believed that an outbreak of diseases, civil wars, and battle trade led to the exodus. You will notice that we will find a well near each mosque we visit here. We come across an early mosque with the biggest well. In this town, spiritual life was very important. Great emphasis was placed on building mosques and tombs. You'll notice that these are the best structures to have survived till now. Early mosques had no doors, so we'll just let ourselves in. Some of the mosques built in the past had a water channel leading to a cistern. A perfect example of this can be seen at the long conduit mosque at Gedi. Cisterns were rectangular structures near a meter deep. The corners were strengthened against leakage. This is where water was kept for those wanting to pray. According to the Islamic religion, a Muslim must first wash themselves in a ritual manner before praying. In the middle of the wall lay a mihrab, whose function is to indicate the direction of Mecca, which is where the Muslims are required to face when praying. On the Kenyan coast, that means facing the north. Worshippers sat on the floor as there was no furniture inside the main hall of a mosque. Mosques which lacked minarets, which are towers built on top of a mosque to call for prayers, had to call people for prayers by someone standing at the doorway. Gedi Mosque has these steps. Our next destination is a 3-bedroom house, one of the many houses found here. It's believed to have been built using coral rocks from the sea. Coral rocks were at the time perfect building materials for being strong and porous. When broken or crushed, the coral was burnt for making lime, which was then used as plaster and as a mortar for building. Lime improved in quality if it was stored outdoors for some years before being used. Doorways were always arched. The floors of the rooms were finished with a layer of lime plaster. Very often, a small drainage hole was made in the middle of the floor, and this allowed wastewater to run into the large soak pit beneath the floor.
Yeah, this is another curve down.
Next to this house is a 700-year-old well which still serves the people. It is said to have fresh drinking water. And next to it is a pit latrine for making some calls. Whether this was an open or transparent process, I cannot tell, as the walls to this toilet have come down.
Then we start from that side.
Our next house is the House of Cylinders, which was built on 2 different levels.
Just a minute.
The upper level, which can be accessed from the eastern side, and the lower level. Just inside the doorway on the left, on the eastern part of the house, there is the base of a large water pot where people took a bath. One could do it while seated on the 2 short flat-topped coral pillars or pedestals. Beside the cistern, there was a deep drop latrine pit. The floor of this complex was tiled with coral slab. This arrangement was probably a combined lavatory and birthplace. The house of the kitchen is where most of the cooking was done. There was a sitting area next to the kitchen where people would sit and enjoy food, relax, and have conversations. People sat on mats.
The house of the kitchen.
Yeah, house of kitchen. We normally call it house of kitchen because it's the place where the women used to prepare the meals for this family, which was living here. Then here we are standing, was their sitting room.
This was a sitting room.
Yeah. This one was their sitting room. They put a very big mat and sit on it. Then the food they put in one plate.
The Swahili style.
Next to the sitting room is this pit latrine. This is the house of many doors, which had more than 16 doors with arched doorways and 30 windows. The house had some large rooms on the left and small rooms on the right. There was also a latrine pit near the small rooms. This house had many rooms beyond the courtyards. Although originally built as an ordinary house, it seems to have ended up being used as apartments or lodging.
Why many doors? So it had many doors.
It also has very many small rooms. When they come to trade, someone maybe a room for a night. What's the purpose of this house? That's why we normally say just rooms inside it. Yeah, you can see some
So this was the Jumba, the king's house.
no, guest house was a guest house.
Yes, building. You listen.
Here we have another building.
What lays before us is a court of law in a dilapidated state, almost similar to the Mombasa law courts which were recently built. In this town lay a court of law which dealt with cases. Most cases handled here included those of family theft and infidelity.
This was the court of
Justice
law.
was served with a strong hand. Anyone found with someone's spouse will be stoned to death. Other crimes will be punishable by 100 strokes of cane. Once punishment had been served, the case was dismissed.
What?
Next to the court was a social hall.
Just the
Social engagements were held here.
which was a private house.
This one. This one was a private house. Mm.
This house.
What was once a party house now lies as a memory of good times only.
Can you see it has a door, a very captive one. This one is not destroyed, very good one. That's social work. It's just for that. Then here we have another huge Baobab tree. Very huge one. On this side. A very huge Baobab tree.
Imagine going around a baobab tree 7 times and having your wishes granted. It is believed that this baobab once had magical powers which it has since lost.
You see, there are some people who normally go around.
Materials from this baobab tree were used to create baskets, prepare baobab fruits and make crops.
If you go around it 7
This is a private house.
This was a house of a small family. There are some different rooms, 3 rooms. I will start explaining with this one, which here is the first room.
The first room was for parents.
For parents.
This one.
Yeah. Then we have
The beds must have been so small.
Yeah, it's for family. Then here we have a small room here.
The second room was for female children. The third room was for male
Oh, that
children.
one.
Yeah, this one, the second room was room for girls.
This one.
Yeah.
There was a toilet,
Then the
washrooms,
third room was room for
sitting
boys.
rooms,
This one.
and the
Yeah.
kitchen.
This one is a boys' room.
Yeah. Then we have the toilet and the washrooms
Toilet and washroom.
at that side. Then this one was the city room. After the city room, we have this place. It's where they used to prepare their meals, the kitchen now, at that place. And it was a small family, this one. It was not a big family. Yeah. Then this was also a house of a private.
It's another house.
Yeah. Oh, it has already ruined.
Welcome to the garden, which
This was a picnic site.
and is still a picnic or garden site.
Some parties here and other events.
This garden is near the Central Mosque.
Some parties are dustbin.
People will meet here and relax before taking prayers in the Central Mosque.
People come hold parties here.
Yeah. It's a very nice place for parties. Very cool one around the beach. Yeah, can finish the party also and also for recreation activities, swimming.
Just like the other mosque,
It's
a
another
borehole was dug close to the mosque for the purposes of ablution before prayers are carried out.
to ensure they have enough water around the mosque also like this. Here. It's another tree. Msazo ni Kiswahili. It is meaning they are not many. Yeah, they are very
So this is the second mosque,
yeah, second mosque. We normally call it the Central Mosque.
Central Mosque,
These are places for putting water.
ablution.
Yeah. We have another places also, which are here.
What is this?
Yeah, there's another place for putting water.
Mm.
This one and this one. Then
Men and women had separate areas to wash themselves, male on the outside, while women washed in the inside.
this is the mosque.
This was the second largest mosque, popularly known as the Central
Section
Mosque,
for men.
as it was
This is
between
a men's
the
section.
Yeah, this is a section.
two mosques.
And the women?
The women, there is another section just behind us.
So behind us is the women's section.
Yeah. This one. Women section that we have.
This is the women's section.
The third mosque is by the beach, and we'll see that later.
Ngine modern. Tuendelee.
Yeah, this was a private house.
This one is also private,
Yeah.
just like
For
the
our
other one.
family. And now we approach it to the daddy mosque. There are three of them on our side. And this one is built around the ocean. The daddy mosque.
Approaching the- So once you've paid, you can
As we
come
move
here,
forward,
sit,
we come across the tomb
Relax.
with an inscription near the beach.
and then
Tombs
they
are usually clustered around the northern ends of mosques. 15 meters to the north of the mosque, by the sea, there is an Arabic
This
inscription.
one was written in Arabic, but the description was brought out. It means every soul shall die. That is the meaning of
the life. What is this?
was a well.
This was a well.
Yeah, was a well, but that one is a small one.
Small one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now this is the daddy mosque that we have. It is called Mosque by the Sea. It is the
That
biggest mosque.
This is the last of the three mosques,
friendly
the mosque by the
here.
sea.
The purpose why it was built to serve the people around the ocean.
The mosque by the sea is the best preserved
This-
mosque,
Purpose of
and it had a large main hall.
There are people around the side.
it also has sections.
The mihrab here has been well preserved. This mihrab was once covered with a thin layer of fine white plaster, and quite a lot of it has survived on the stonework. People stood at the mihrab to call people for prayers. For example, the Great Mosque of Gedi has a stone platform called a minbar, while the mosques Chunda, Faz and Siu have fine carved wooden ones. To the right of the mihrab, there is a complete arched doorway. There would have been 3 such doorways on either side of the main hall of the mosque. At the back of this hall, there were 2 doorways which have been blocked to chest level. The floored area extends beyond this doorway, and it is possible that it was an area reserved for women. On the other side of the main hall, there were long anterooms. The one on the right east probably had a flat roof which was supported by 3 substantial pillars. Beyond the anteroom, there was a cistern which was rebuilt in 1975 as a defense against the sea. And the north end of the cistern, there is a foot of rock called Oritis coral. There is so much I can say about Jumba La Mtwana, but you need to set foot on it to realize the experience you must have. We learned a lot about the Swahili culture and uncovered stories of centuries past here.
The other peoples come through the ocean. They could come here and have their trade activities at this place.
This place.
Yeah, this place.
For the trade center.
Yeah.
It's very large.
There is a lot of history found here.
It occupies
And
all
if
the
you
space
want to
until there.
find out about more history, please do follow us on this journey. Kindly subscribe to our channel, share the videos and like them so we can relive the experiences together in the upcoming vlogs. Before you check out, watch our playlist for more exciting videos like this one. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning and keep making memories. See you on the next adventure and thanks for watching.
Big. Umeshiba vizuri.
So unaona na kwingine unaona. Kama kuna kwingine kuingia unaona.
Nani experience? Huwezi kosa chakula 1.5 hapa ndani. Hata kama ni chai. Paka sawa. Ukiwa kwa Swahili ukiwa najua Washrooms sana natoka wapi? Kabisa.